mycorrhizal fungi. Have any of you heard of mycorrhizal fungi? So I'm going to show you a cross-section of soil. Mycorrhiza has been on the planet for 460 million years, and we've been paying attention to it for about 25 years. Again, when we changed our focus from chemicals to what's going on below the soil, we discovered all of these things that we didn't really know about. This will be part of the conversation for gardeners from here forward. The word mycorrhiza. Mycor means fungus, rhiza means root. Mycorrhiza means fungus root. Think of it as a beneficial root extender. It's one of the best marriages on the planet. This is a cross-section of soil, and these are pine seedlings. This orange part right here is the root. Everything else that looks like roots is the mycorrhizal fungi. Okay? 90% of all plants on the planet form a symbiotic relationship with mycorrhizal fungi, and almost none of us have ever heard of it. It's really remarkable, right, if you think about it. In their natural habitat, they form this association. What happens, what kind of an area would we see where mycorrhizal colonies would be destroyed? Well, where there's a lot of chemical fertilizing going on, where there's a lot of tilling going on, and in new housing developments. So those of you that are composting and mulching quite a bit, you probably have some pretty healthy colonies of bacteria, beneficial, maybe some disease causing. If you're having problems in your garden, you may have an imbalance. But if you have a pretty healthy garden overall, you probably have really healthy colonies of bacteria and fungi and even mycorrhizal fungi. Okay? So how does this tiny spore, it starts out as a tiny spore, how does it know to attach itself to the root? Because the root itself secretes a food source. It's called an exudate. So let me back up. This area right here is called the rhizosphere, the sphere around the rhiza. This is the single most important area for plant growth and development. What we do to the soil here is going to tell the story in how the plant grows up here. This is like the foundation for your home. When you amend your garden soil, make that your first project. Oftentimes people will walk out of here with carts of plants, and what's one of the things that's missing? It's the compost. We have to amend our soil. Sometimes I'll hear people say, well, you know, I did that last year. You mean I have to do it again this year? Yes. Why? Because the biology eats it. It's their food source. When you're back down to the mineral base of the soil, you're missing the key component to what keeps the soil healthy. When plants photosynthesize, they create their own sugars and carbohydrates. Well, they push those down through the root, through this exudate. Why is this such a biologically active area? Because food comes out of the root system. And all the bacteria and fungi want to be in this area. So again, the rhizosphere, the sphere around the rhiza, the sphere around the root zone. This is the single most important area for plant growth and development. All the bacteria, all the fungi want to congregate here. Why? Because there's food. Why does this spore germinate in the soil and attach itself to the root? Because that's the only way it will live and survive. That's the only place it can get its food. So it attaches to the root, colonizes the root system, and then it says, you know, because the plant root's feeding me, I'm now going to do something extraordinary for this plant. I'm going to travel through the soil with my hyphae, that's the technical name for it is hyphae, or my mycelial fans or my fungal fans. I'm going to travel through the soil, and I'm going to release a powerful enzyme that literally will unlock the grip that soil has on nutrients. Oftentimes that's due to pH, where the soil won't let go of the nutrients. The soil is abundant in nutrients like calcium. Our soils are rich in calcium, but oftentimes it's not available to the plant. The soil is holding on to it because of the pH. Now this is current thinking. It's because of the pH. But what the real issue is that the biology is not in balance. If there's healthy biology, the pH is self-correcting. Nutrients will be released and the plant can have those nutrients. But part of the job of the mycorrhiza is it grows into the soil, it releases this enzyme, the soil lets go of the nutrients, and the fungal filament translocates it back to the root of the plant. It's been going on for millions of years. The root feeds the fungi, and the fungi feeds the plant. So plants that have mycorrhiza in the soil have better access to nutrients. The second thing, look at how much larger the surface area is now. Instead of just this, now the surface area is anywhere from 10 to 100 up to 1,000 times larger surface area. Now what does the plant have more access to? Water. Better nutrient uptake, better water absorption. We're now seeing in agriculture seeds are being coated with mycorrhiza. So when the seed germinates, sends down this little taproot, it has access to some mycorrhiza. Well, when a root has more access and a larger surface area for water and nutrients, what does that mean? Plants get established much faster, and we're going to have better production, and we're going to save water, we're going to save fertilizer inputs. So your question to me earlier about organic fertilizers being expensive, and and there is this thinking. Like last year, a lot of the chemical fertilizers were increased in price 300% and 400% increase. Why? Because all of a sudden we valued petroleum. Chemical fertilizers have been cheap for so many years, but now all of a sudden the chemical fertilizer was almost in line with the organic. Well, here are some of the reasons why you want to shift from the chemical to the organic. One breaks structure down, one builds soil structure. One's not sustainable, one is. One creates more insect and disease damage, one suppresses it. The one that builds the good soil structure is the organic. The one that breaks down that soil structure is the synthetic. One of them, the chemical fertilizer, releases fast, goes down through the soil profile, and pollutes the waterways. One holds it into the soil. So the truth is, what's really more expensive? If we want to be sustainable gardeners, then it's partially falls on us to say, in the long run, the chemical fertilizer that I think is cheaper is actually far more expensive and is leaving a far bigger negative impact on the soil than the organic is. And the chemical fertilizer is a short-term quick fix. We have to use it over and over and over because we've depleted the soil and we're growing plants that are weaker. The chemicals once a month, the organics is once every 2 to 3 months. After a while, when you build healthy soil, by using your own compost or using compost that we produce, you will use less and less inputs of fertilizer. Why do we have to use these inputs? Initially, because most of us have been gardening with chemicals and we've depleted our soil.